At long last, the battle has ended. And thus, Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. From now on, there is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that, after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs. We are going to demonstrate to the world, to the other nations, young as we are, that we are prepared to lay our own foundation. We are going to see that we create our own African personality and identity. And we again rededicate ourselves not only in the struggle to emancipate other territories in Africa. Our independence is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of the African continent. I want you all, those who have hats on, to take off your hats and let the band play our national anthem. And from now on, that national anthem is the national anthem of the Go-Go, to be played on all occasions. Freedom! 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 May God bless you.
So after the Declaration of Independence in 1957, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was made the Prime Minister, head of government business, and he was a Prime Minister up until 1960, when the country became a republic and we fully gained independence from the British. And so he was inaugurated as the president, and that is what you find on your screen. Nkrumah together with his wife Fatia Nkrumah, and this is the inauguration service of Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah as the president of the Republic of Ghana. And he's heading towards the National Assembly for the ceremony to take place. And don't also forget about the disagreement between the educated elite as well as the chiefs. And by this time, Nkrumah had promulgated the 1954 Constitution, and it had taken off all the seats that belonged to the chiefs in the National Assembly. So that is the state sword you find Nkrumah holding, and that is the same seat today we use in our inauguration service, our ceremony. And he, Nkrumah, is taking the oath of office, and that is what you find in your screen. Very, very beautiful pictures up there. So one of the biggest achievements of the CPP government under Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was the construction of the Akosombo Dam, and it was completed in 1966, the same year that Nkrumah was overthrown. And Nkrumah established this dam, or constructed this dam, to power the industries that he had planned to establish in the country, because he believed that for the country, or for Ghana to be truly independent, there was the need for the country to achieve economic independence. And so he built these factories in order to power the country, to make the economy of the country strong. And so that was the reason behind the establishment or the construction of the Akosombo Dam, basically to power the industries. In the subsequent videos, we shall take and listen to his speech on that day, and it is well to note that he was overthrown just the following month after opening the dam.
And so last Saturday all was judged ready for a formal inauguration, with young pioneers, acolytes of the new Ghana, and chiefs, cheerfully meaningless relics of the old Ghana, but adding solemnity to the moment of national self-congratulation. And finally, Dr. Nkrumah himself, Asajifo the President, in vice-regal motorcar and sunny mood. This was his dam. He'd borrowed the money, approved the plans, all but built it. Problems were for another day. Budget day, in point of fact, in a fortnight's time, when Ghanaians will learn that they're drastically overspent. But not on the dam, on other, less easily justifiable projects. The dam will pay for itself by the sale of power.
Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world of contradictions. These contradictions, however, keep the world going. Let me explain what I mean. Ghana is a small but very dynamic, independent African state. We are trying to reconstruct our economy and to build a new, free and equal society. To do this, we must attain control of our own economic and political destinies. Only thus can we create higher living standards for our people and free them from the legacies and hazards of a colonial past and from the encroachments of neo-colonialism.
Neo-colonialism, meaning American investment in Africa. His audience knew it was a bad thing. Asajifo had just published a book attacking it. Odd, though, there was American investment in this dam. A further irony, it was that book which made it necessary for Mrs. Nkrumah to open the dam instead of Mrs. Kennedy, as Dr. Nkrumah had hoped. The American government were annoyed by the book and advised Mrs. Kennedy not to go. The fiction that she'd be there was maintained till the last moment, but in the end it was Mrs. Nkrumah who unveiled a plaque marked, "Unveiled by Mrs. Jacqueline Kennedy." With Mr. Kaiser, engineering and aluminium king, the president then came forward to switch on lights. Mr. Kaiser had spoken, but hadn't explained the other major oddity of the Volta scheme, that the power is to be used to smelt processed bauxite into aluminium, and the processed bauxite is being imported, although Ghana runs over with raw bauxite. But when the lights came on, and the fireworks, these oddities were forgotten in the glow.
So apparently on the 24th of February 1966, Asajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the first Prime Minister and first President of the First Republic, was overthrown in a military coup led by Major General A.A. Afrifa, Emmanuel Kutuka, and J.A. Ankara. And these people overthrew Nkrumah for several reasons, some spanning from political to economic to social reasons. And so Major General Afrifa and the military junta formed the National Liberation Council, which was headed by J.A. Ankara. In our subsequent videos, we shall take a look at why the military decided to overthrow Asajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah from a press conference they organized by the National Liberation Council led by J.A. Ankara. Now, it is important to note that after the overthrow of Nkrumah, everything about him was destroyed, even including cars that bear his name were all cancelled. Statues of Nkrumah were all pulled down, as you can see in the video. I believe that it was the plan of the military junta to actually erase Nkrumah from the history books of Ghana. And so even his ideological center at Winneba, all the books there were burnt down. Nkrumah's properties were all destroyed, as you can find in your screen. This huge giant statue of Nkrumah was also pulled down. Let's take a look at the reaction of Ghanaians after Nkrumah was overthrown. During Nkrumah's overthrow, there were some political prisoners who were detained under the Preventive Detention Act, PDA. And so after Nkrumah was overthrown, all these political prisoners were actually released, and that is what you find on your screen. These people were kept in prison because they were deemed to have been behind bombing attacks on the president whilst he was still in power. A lot of these people were detained without trial under the PDA by Nkrumah. So let's take and listen to some of the prisoners that were liberated after the overthrow of Asadi for the Communist.
The period I was there, I think about between 10 to 15 people died at the time I was there.
How were you treated here?
Before I was sent to prison there, I was in chains and handcuffs for 16 good months.
Were you in chains and handcuffs all the time?
Yeah, for 16 good months in the place here.
How did you feel when you learnt you were going to be let out?
Oh, I'm very happy, sir.
How long were you in detention?
I've been in detention for nearly 5 years now.
How did they treat you?
Well, I was not so badly treated, but the lockups were too much for us. We were kept in custody for about 3 months without given any air.
What about the food and general treatment?
The food is generally poor, very, very poor, and had caused a lot of illness to many of us.
What did you feel when you heard you were being allowed out?
I felt that probably the army might have taken power. Otherwise, the wicked government would not permit anybody to be released, because we were told that we would remain in detention for the rest of our lives.
So right after the coup plotters that overthrew Asadi for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the National Liberation Council met the press, and they actually told them their reason behind the overthrow of Asadi for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Now, the man you find on your screen is J. Ankara. He will be introducing them very shortly, but they will introduce a certain guy who, after the overthrow of Nkrumah, was deemed to be associated with the coup. I think he was parading himself that he was behind the coup, and so the military officers decided to bring him to come and testify if indeed he was the brain behind the coup, because there was so much rumors in the public that Nkrumah's coup was instigated from outside. But to J. Ankara, who led the leaders, he said the coup was instigated by Ghanaians themselves. Let's take and listen to him.
On my right is Major General A.K. Kotoka, who is the second member or the first member of the National Liberation Council. We have called you here this morning for one specific reason, and that is you've heard the name of one Amuhia who has associated himself with this coup and had published himself in the British papers and most of the papers that is the brain behind this. And we want to prove that we were not instigated by anybody, neither we want to refute any allegation that ACA or God knows what has instigated us to carry out this coup. This coup was carried out completely because of the things that had happened in Ghana and because of the tyranny and the despotism of Kwame Nkrumah, the deposed president. Everybody in Ghana was fed up with it. And therefore you could see the spontaneous result which followed the coup. You would have seen when you were coming probably thinking that Ghana would have been put under curfew or all other things, but nothing was done. There was no brain behind it. It was work from us and from within, without the aid of anybody, any foreign country or any country. It has been some of these things in Ghana that when a ruler is useless, you depose him. And therefore, we have deposed Kwame Nkrumah. We don't want tyranny or anything here. And therefore, I would like to not waste time to bring in Amu here for you to see him. And you can see that he doesn't even know. I don't know him. I haven't seen him before, neither is any of us. The only thing that we know of him since he started claiming himself was that the COP found in his records that he's a criminal who is wanted in Ghana. And we were so quiet because we wanted him. He's a criminal wanted in Ghana, so that we put him in the cold ice chest. Well, this is Mr. Amuhia. He calls himself Amuhia or Amushia or ever. His name is never spelled correct either. And we would like him to tell you how he organized this coup and how he was the brain behind it. And who he knew on this.
First and foremost, on the 24th morning, 8 o'clock news announced in London that Ghana has announced that jointly the army and the police have overthrown the regime of the tyrant, Kwame Nkrumah.
Did you come to brainwash me, Kotoka, the police, or somebody, and tell us how to conduct this? Or did you try to tell us where we should, how we should organize our army or the operations to be carried out?
No, sir. This is exactly what I am coming to, sir. If I should be given the opportunity, I shall explain thoroughly as I am before you and before the world press.
So after the coup, Emmanuel Kutuka, who was a brain behind the overthrow of Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and Dr. K. Ebuja were interviewed overseas and about the way forward for the country and how things were progressing after the overthrow of Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in 1966. And so let's take a look at the interview granted by these two people. And bear in mind, Dr. K. Ebuja will later become the Prime Minister of Ghana with Edward Akufo-Addo as the President in the Second Republic of Ghana.
How is the reconstruction of the country going since the overthrow of the Nkrumah regime?
I think very well indeed. It's going very well. Everybody is working hard, and we hope it won't be long when things will be on good footing.
Returning to ex-President Nkrumah, do you think he'll ever try to return to Ghana?
We will be very pleased indeed to have him back in Ghana. we'll give him the red carpet.
Thank you, sir.
It's very difficult to say. If they work fast, we are prepared to hand over as soon as things are ready, when the Constitution is drawn, and when probably they've finished. You know, there are a lot of commissions going on at present, in which quite a lot of people, parliamentarians, some civil servants, and public officers have been affected. And when the commissions are going on now, this will lead to trials. When we finish cleaning this mess, as we call it, the Constitution is written, referred to Constituent Assembly, and then throw it to the country in the form of a referendum. Then we'll hand over. And I don't know, I can't say. It depends on how fast they work. No, we are sincere. We are serious. We are serious. No, I don't think you can imagine how one man can hold 3 ministries, portfolios for 3 ministries. It's really a burden on us. We are not happy about it ourselves. So you should take us seriously.
General Kotka, are you, as a member of the National Liberation Council of Ghana, concerning yourself at all with the problem of the Ghanaian students in London and other countries who've had their bursaries and scholarships withdrawn?
No, that is a matter for the High Commissioner here, and he will see to any petitions forwarded by the students.
Your government statement on the withdrawal of these scholarships has said that those students who are qualified for further training in Ghanaian institutions will get it. Others will have the opportunity to serve in the reconstruction of their country. What role do you see for them in the reconstruction of Ghana?
Those who are qualified will be employed in positions where they can help reconstruct Ghana. Those who are not qualified and are ready to pursue their studies further will have to go into institutions where they can pursue their studies.
And those who are neither qualified nor capable of pursuing further studies?
They'll have to serve Ghana in any capacity in which they are qualified.
Such as teaching, farming?
Well, if they are qualified for teaching, they may take teaching. If they are qualified for farming, they may farm. If they can't do any of these...
Specifically Ghanaian problems there?
The one prominent in my mind is about the refugees who are at present from Nkrumah in Ghana now, in Guinea now. I might raise that with United Nations officials to see whether they can help us repatriate these Ghanaians who are willing to come back but are denied the opportunities of coming back.
And those who are not willing to come back, who are in fact working with Nkrumah in Guinea, would you raise the subject of them too?
There might be just a very few indeed, very, very few, like Bruce Yankee and some few diehards. But the greater majority, I am sure, would like to come back to Ghana.
Turning to relations with Britain, finally, sir, General Kotka, as a member of the National Liberation Council of Ghana, are you concerned with the problem of the students who've recently had their bursaries and scholarships withdrawn? The government statement on these students said that those who were qualified would be invited to return to Ghana and help in the reconstruction of their...
I am the elected head of the government of Ghana. There has not been an election. There has only been an adventure by a small band of the military people stationed in Accra.
Your information at the moment then is that this coup has not been successful?
My information is that the coup hasn't got nationwide support.
Do you know the Lieutenant Colonel who has led this coup?
Only by name.
The coup leaders have accused you of malpractices and arbitrary arrests. What do you say to that?
There has not been a single person detained in the 2 years that I have been in office. And these preposterous charges, I think anybody in Ghana who knows me knows the truth and knows this is senseless nonsense.
What are you going to do now? Are you going to fly back to Accra?
I am not saying what I'm going to do, except that I will not let my people down, and they will soon know my next move.
Do you feel there's any chance at all that this military coup will in the end be successful or not?
I have no doubt that it will fail.
Do you feel very depressed tonight?
I'm sad. I'm sad because I can think of the tragedy this would be for Africa, and particularly for Ghana. And that, of course, makes me sad. But I'm not depressed in the sense that I have no faith or confidence in eventual victory. We shall win through.
Fellow countrymen, my heart is heavy as I witness the damage which this clique of neo-colonialist conspirators are doing to our country. At the bidding of their overseas neo-colonialist masters, they are dismantling the work of 15 years. They are telling you that Ghana is bankrupt. They are telling you that our country is in debt to the extent of some 240 million pounds. What fools they are. How ignorant for them to think that you believe these stupid lies. Open your eyes and look around you. See for yourself. See the splendid new Tama Harbour. See the mighty water dam. See the fine roads which we have built under the leadership of the Convention People's Party and its government. See the schools, the colleges, and the universities. See the clinics, hospitals, health centers, and the facilities which we have created. See the factories which are already springing up. These are no debts. These are not debts. They are investments in our future as an independent nation. These are the physical guarantees of the bright new future which I have promised you and I have been working for. Together, we can put our Ghana firmly and squarely on its own feet. Together, we can create the things we need for ourselves instead of going cap in hand for charity handouts from foreign powers whose only wish is to exploit us and make us vassals to their interests. I know these are hard and trying days for you. I have never tried to conceal from you that real independence, that is to say economic independence, does not come without hard struggle and sacrifice. Unlike the cheats and deceivers, the liars and traitors who are now trying to lord it over you, I have never promised you any easy road. I have respected your good sense, your capacity for work, your pride in yourselves, and your sense of national dignity. Why do you think these traitors, these agents and lackeys of colonialism and of international intrigue to destroy the independence of Ghana, chose this moment to perform their dastardly act? I will tell you, less than 1 month before they struck to destroy all our hard work, we had inaugurated the first electricity from the Volta Dam. Only 3 days before this treachery, we had signed a new agreement to irrigate the mighty Accra Plains. At last, we were on the threshold of a great new victory. We had in 1957 won our political independence after years of struggle. Now in 1966, we were at the threshold of winning our economic independence. The same people who tried to sabotage our winning of political independence 9 years ago have now struck to sabotage our economic independence and are systematically dismantling our socialist gains and achievements. Before the traitors and the rebellious National Liberation Council tried to usurp power during my absence from Ghana, Ghana was a haven to which the oppressed from all parts of Africa could come to carry on their struggle. It was a haven for freedom fighters, for independence and against colonialism. The name of Ghana was revered all over the African continent as a staunch friend of the oppressed. African brothers from South Africa, from Rhodesia, from Mozambique and Angola, from the so-called Portuguese Guinea and the Cape Verde Islands and other oppressed colonial areas were given hospitality amongst us. Do you think that this is something of which we needed to be ashamed? Not at all. On the contrary, it was something of which we should be justly proud. Haven't we proclaimed that the independence of Ghana is meaningless until it is linked up with the total liberation of Africa? Now, hundreds of these brave freedom fighters who came to our country trusting us to look after them and help them in their struggle against colonial oppression, and believing as we do that Africa and the struggle for freedom is indivisible. These brave men and women have been sent back, bag and baggage, by this traitorous clique to the countries from which they had fled to seek refuge, inspiration, and protection in Ghana. Countrymen, a new phase of the African Revolution has been reached. This revolution must overcome and triumph over imperialism, racialism, and neocolonialism. It must finally usher in the total emancipation and the political unification of our continent. Africa must be free. Africa must be united.
In April 1967, a year into Nkrumah's overthrow, there were counter-coups against the National Liberation Council led by J.A. Nkrumah. There were some group of soldiers who also decided to overthrow the National Liberation Council, and in their operation it was called the Operation Jetai Boys. However, their coup was not successful because the NLC, the National Liberation Council, was successful in dealing with the coup. However, at the end of the coup, Emmanuel Kutuka, who was instrumental during the coup against Nkrumah, was killed in that coup. And so the coup plotters were lined up and they were given the tribunal trial, as you have seen on your screen. And so J.A. Nkrumah, the leader of the National Liberation Council, will brief the press about the developments that has taken place and the measures taken by the National Liberation Council in ensuring that the country was safe and that the government was also safe. Let's take and listen to J.A. Nkrumah's press conference concerning the issue. Let's also take a key note as to what will happen to these coup plotters who are also plotted same to overthrow the National Liberation Council. Their fate as it stands.
We would like this morning to tell you the steps we have taken since last Monday. A, steps have been taken to enforce the security of the vulnerable points of the government. Service inquiry have begun to investigate the circumstances leading to the murder of Lieutenant General Kotoka, Captain Aveva, Captain Buckle, and Sergeant Osei Grunchi. And also to establish as far as possible the origin and motive of this insurrection. We hope that these investigations now in progress will cover all possible aspects of the security of the state. Meanwhile, proceedings have begun to try by military tribunal those who have been identified as being directly responsible for the murder of Lieutenant General Kotoka. This trial will begin next week. I'd like to here now mention that as far as we've got, the master plan which we have discovered indicates clearly an intention of John junior officers who had planned to assassinate all senior officers to the rank of lieutenant colonel.
Samson Sasu Bafowa, the tribunal sentenced you to death by shooting. Post-coup, the tribunal sentenced you to death by shooting. Lieutenant Augustus Owusu-Jima, the tribunal sentenced you to death by shooting.
Lieutenant! Quick march!
Kofi Owusu, the tribunal sentenced you to 25 years imprisonment.
Lieutenant! Quick march!
GH551 Lieutenant Samuel Benjamin Arthur.
Stop.
The tribunal sentenced you to death by firing squad. March him out. GH601 Lieutenant Moses Yaboa.
Stop.
The tribunal sentenced you to death by firing squad. March him out. GH976 Second Lieutenant Osepoku.
Stop.
The tribunal sentenced you to 30 years imprisonment of hard labor.
Okay, so thank you for watching. This video is actually in parts. I am doing a full video, a full documentary, as you have seen already, from 1957 up to 1992. And so this is the first part of the video, and I hope you enjoyed the footages over there. I'll be doing the next parts, and that's the Second Republic, Third Republic, as well as the Fourth Republic, right from the CPP to the NLC, to the PPP, the PP, to the NRC, to the SMC1, SMC2, to the AFRC, PNDC, up until the Fourth Republic. So there are a lot for you to enjoy from this video. I know it's going to be a very long video, so I've decided to do it in parts, and this is the first part. Do not forget to subscribe, share our links to people that you think may be interested in the video, and have a nice day, and thank you for watching.